Hello and welcome to or welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about my camera. I am not a camera expert, but I did some research, did some digging to share some good information with you about this camera and this series of cameras. This camera was actually discontinued several years back, but it's still how I'm taking my nature and wildlife photographs today. You may wonder why I'm talking about a discontinued camera, but discontinued doesn't mean useless. It's still a great camera that a lot of people can still find used. It's very affordable, and it really does an amazing job. So this is a Nikon D3400. It is a DSLR camera, and it is a crop sensor camera. So this is where I did some digging. Back in 2009, Nikon released the D3000 camera. And at that time, it replaced the D40 as the most affordable DSLR camera available. After that D3000, along came a D3100, a D3200, a D3300, a D3400 came around in 2016, and I got mine for Christmas of 2017. And after that was a D3500, and by 2022, 2023-ish, Nikon had pretty much completely discontinued all crop sensor DSLR cameras. They do still have a crop sensor mirrorless camera at this time of filming. So this has 24.2 megapixels, and I did some research on that because I was not familiar with the standard numbers, and I found that that's actually very, very decent. Your very top line cameras are going to be in the 40s, but most other cameras are in the 20s. Some are even less than 24. And I can tell you that when I take pictures with this camera, my biggest zoom lens maxes out at 300 millimeters, and I do probably 75 to 80% of my photos, I do end up cropping. And when you crop, you lose some resolution in your photographs. And even then, I can tell you that I have printed out a lot of my photos as 8x10s, and they look perfect. They look fantastic. So I've heard a lot of people say that the vast majority of people don't need 40-something megapixels. The vast majority of us photographers are totally fine in the 20s. And I do agree with that, because if I'm cropping the photo and then I'm printing it out as an 8x10 and it still looks good, that's really, really good. Unless you're cropping and printing larger than 8x10s, you would probably be totally fine with a camera in the 20-something range of megapixels. So this is a DX mount DSLR camera, and DX is Nikon's title for a crop sensor camera, the APS-C format camera. The F mount is just the name for the Nikon mount for lenses, and DSLR just denotes that this camera has a mirror versus the new mirrorless cameras. This camera does do video. I don't use it much. When I first got it, I really was not interested in using it for video. I really wanted to perfect my photography with still photos, and I've been perfectly fine not using it, but it does have a full HD 1080p video up to 60 frames per second. It does have an AF 11-point autofocus system with 5 frames per second continuous shooting, and it has a CMOS processor. So let me talk about what this camera does well. First off is the image quality. Like I talked about with the megapixels, this does really, really well. And even cropping down photos, it still maintains really good image quality. Compared to some other cameras, this is actually quite lightweight and very easy to carry. I know a lot of people who complain about the weight of a camera, and especially when you add on a large lens to it as well, the weight adds up, and having a lighter camera body can really help lighten that load. This is also very easy to learn for a beginner. I was a beginner when I started on this, and I did really well with it. It's very easy and straightforward to use and to learn. So let's talk about limitations of this camera. It does not offer 4K video. Like I said earlier, I was not interested in using this for video, but I know a lot of people want to get video as well as still photos out of their cameras. So there are limitations here in regards to that. It does not have a flip screen. A lot of cameras nowadays, they flip down or to the side or every which way. There's lots of different options for that now. It doesn't have that. It was never an issue for me. I didn't find that I needed that or was struggling with that at all. So who is this camera good for? Definitely great for beginners, definitely great for nature photographers, and definitely good for anyone on a limited budget that wants to get going and get started with photography. But this camera came in a kit with two lenses. There is an 18-55 and a 70-300. In a later video, I will show you that I replaced both of these lenses with one lens. So I really don't use these much anymore, but they are actually very decent lenses. I used this camera with these lenses for a whole year. I did not buy another lens for a whole year. I just started with what I had, worked with what I had, and I chose to look for areas I was struggling with and areas where I had gaps that I needed to fix. And I bought my lenses very strategically based on that. And I will do videos in the future on each of the lenses that I have bought and that I use. I see so many people who buy a camera, like, I bought this camera, what lens should I buy? And they go rushing out to buy lenses. And I really encourage you to wait, work with your kit lenses that it came with until you can see clearly what you are needing that those kit lenses are not providing. One other bonus with this camera is that it has automatic modes, which I only used those like less than a week, like the first 3 days maybe. I played around with them, took pictures, and then what I did was I analyzed what the camera chose, the settings that the camera chose, and looked at why. And the pictures where I liked how they turned out, I kind of looked at the settings even more and started working with it. As well as I was on YouTube learning about the settings, and I got a book. I had a lot of great sources that I was learning from all at once. I will say it is really nice. It has multiple automatic settings to choose from for someone who's just getting started. That can be helpful. This is also great if like you're into photography, but your spouse isn't. They don't want to learn it, but they could still grab your camera and use an automatic setting as long as you teach them how to focus. That would be the only thing they would need to learn, is how to focus it, and then they could use it too. I think that's actually a really helpful situation to have that. A lot of your higher end cameras have no automatic settings, which makes them very hard for beginners, but also if you had a spouse or something who would want to grab the camera and use it quickly for something, but they have no idea what to do with it. So I think that's a really valid situation that this can be really helpful in. So I think these are really great lenses to come in the kit as the kit lenses. Most people will be really happy with an 18-55. That will shoot most things. And then for people like me who love our zoom lenses and want to get out there and get that wildlife and nature that's far from us, you've got the 70-300. That is really nice. I think it's just a really great combo to have. But my final word to you is, if you're waiting to get better gear before you get started, don't. Pick up a camera, even one of these. Get something used, get something in your budget right now to get going and get started. I highly recommend that for you. Hope this video was helpful. Hope you have a great day, and God bless you.